What is up, my turtles? My name is Jimmy, also known as YmmijTortuga, and welcome to, Pokemon tutorial number 1 of 3. We're going to be talking about IVs and natures in this tutorial. If you guys are excited for this video, I hope you guys learned something new, maybe a refresher if you're breeding for competitive Pokemon or trying to get some competitive Pokemon and everything. Hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave me a comment down below. How did I do here? So let's get started here. So now, obviously, we need to know how to get, you want to get into some battles and whatnot, you need to know how to breed a Pokemon or get a Pokemon initially at a certain level or readiness in terms of compatibility. So there's going to be 3 different videos. We're going to talk about IVs and natures today and how to obtain a specific Pokemon with the right nature, and then we can work on the IVs in future videos and whatnot. But let's get started here. So here is the chart here for IVs. IVs are, if we scroll all the way up here, IVs are, where does it say? Individual values. There we go. Individual values right there. So individual values are what kind of more or less defines a Pokemon at more or less level 100 and whatnot. And I probably should have already had that there, but basically it ranges a hidden value from 0 to 31. And basically what that means, it's like how many extra points at level 100 will I have in a particular stat, okay? So 31 obviously being the best, 0 being no good. Of course you get no good, decent, pretty good, very good, fantastic, and best. So if we take a look at our game capture here, we'll look at this Ralts here. You can see that it has 6 stats. It's hit points or HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. So these IVs will determine, quote-unquote, how good they are. Now there's different tricks and whatnot and how to put, like, what specific IV where. Most of the time, I will say, for all of your IVs, most of the time, you're going to want a 31 or best. Just like in this case in the Ralts where its attack is best, you're going to want that all around. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. Let me go over that very quickly. There are Pokemon that value from 0 attack because they're not using their attack anyway. They're special attackers. They use moves like Flamethrower, Fire Blast. Charizard is a prime example of that. If we actually look, let's go swing over to my Charizard, wherever the heck it is. I think I passed it here. He was there. I don't know where he went. I need to clean out my boxes. I don't know where my Charizard was, but Charizard had no good attack, as well as a. So basically, if you are a special attacker, let's look at Toxtricity here. Even though it's best here, let's look at Toxtricity. It would actually benefit Toxtricity more for having a 0 attack. It doesn't use the attack anyway. We'll look at this one. It uses Overdrive, Boom Burst, Protect, and Metal Sound. Protect and Metal Sound don't do anything, but Overdrive and Boom Burst are both special attacks. How do I know? Well, let's check the summary here. If we go to moves, you can see the category with the swirls. That means it's a special attack. So just be aware of that when you're choosing movesets for your Pokemon, etc. and whatnot. So there's that. The other one is for a Pokemon that needs to go into Trick Room. Let's use this Magnezone, for example. It has 0 speed, no good speed. Trick Room, basically in Pokemon, the Pokemon with the highest speed stat goes first, by default. There are other factors, but for the sake of this argument, no special moves are being used. The Pokemon with the highest speed goes first. If you use the move called Trick Room, it reverses that. The slowest Pokemon now will go first. So there are Pokemon that take advantage of that, and I believe, yeah, Hatterene is a very prime example of a Trick Room Pokemon. At level 100, its speed stat is only 56. It's one of the slowest Pokemon in the game with a base speed stat, and we'll talk about bases in just a moment, with a base speed stat of of 29. So a no good speed, make it as slow as possible, and inside Trick Room, this thing wrecks. It goes first, and it wrecks. So there are a couple advantages. I'll let you decide on when to use that, etc. And I'll go over why I have all these results here in just a second as well. So we have these individual values that we need to know about, and it does that. Again, it determines the stat of what the Pokemon is. In the instance of my Hatterene, I said it was 56. If it had a best stat, let's do some quick maths here. We'll swing this down here. We had a 56. It was at level 100. So add 31 to that because it was at 0. It would have been 87. Now that's still pretty slow at level 100, but if you're going up maybe against another Hatterene, you're gonna be faster than it, and in Trick Room, that's not gonna be good. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Now again, most do at level 50, so I mean you might as well take like about half and whatnot. But for the sake of this, there's calculators. Use Pokemon Showdown for the calculators on the IVs specifically, and you'll be able to figure out what your speed stat is. Try to figure out what you're gonna outspeed in what type of situation. I know that's a lot to take in at once, but that is the purpose of IVs. Like I said, what is the stat going to be with a specific IV? And it does vary, depend on levels, but by default, you have a best IV, it's going to be higher. That's what we, for the most part, tend to aim for. Now, another contributing factor to IVs are what is known as natures. Now, natures have a special effect most of the time. We can see this hardy nature here, raises none and lowers none. These are known as neutral natures, just like docile nature, serious nature, bashful nature, and quirky nature. All of those, and I don't think I missed anything. If I did, my bad. All of those don't increase anything. It just doesn't matter. But if you get a nature that benefits a stat, it increases it by 10%. But then the downside, or if there is a downside, it lowers another stat by 10%. So for example, this lonely nature will increase attack by 10%, but it'll lower your defense by 10%. Brave nature raises attack, lowers speed. Adamant raises attack, lowers special attack. This is a very common nature for physical attackers. Most of the time, they're not using their special attack anyway. Most of the time, they're not using their special attack. And then we swing down to... I feel like we're missing one. Cerebi, you're missing one. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm just blind. This modest nature right here. It raises special attack, but lowers attack. So it all depends on what you want to do. Do you want to raise speed? Do you want to raise your special attack or lower your special attack or lower your defense? I don't recommend lowering the defense. There are not very many instances on where you would use a nature where you lower your defense. You might raise it, but typically you don't want to do that. Or you do like your defense and then lower your speed for Trick Room. Jolly is another common one where you raise your speed but lower your special attack. Cinderace uses Jolly very often, so it all depends on where you want to go, if you want to outspeed anything, if you want to outhit anything, whatever you want to do with these natures. How do we determine what we do? Well, let's take the example of Unpheasant here. How do we determine? I'm using, obviously, Cerebi. I should have said this at the beginning. Cerebi.net is a great resource for when you're trying to get competitive Pokemon. How do we know? Well, there's this nice thing called stats here. You can see Unpheasant stat has an HP. There is no nature, by the way, that increases or decreases HP. As you can see, it doesn't matter if it's a hindering nature, if it's neutral, it doesn't change anything, or if it's a beneficial, the 10% increase. You can see the HP stat, regardless at level 50 or level 100, is there. But you can see what the speed stat is. If it's hindering at level 50 is 88. Remember, I said max speed Hatterene, although that was at level 100, was like 87-ish? Right? Am I going crazy? Yeah, it was 56 plus 31. It was 87. So, obviously, it's like at level 50, the minimum speed of an Unpheasant with a hindering nature with 0 speed is 88. Min speed, max speed, or hindering nature. So, it just shows you how slow Hatterene is. Okay. So, Unpheasant here. What is its highest attack? Well, highest stat. Well, I can see it has a high attack. So, we probably want a nature that increases its attack. But now, if we're going to do a nature that increases something, we got to figure out what to decrease. Usually you want to look at the lowest one. In this case would be special defense. But again, I personally feel that you never really want to lower your defenses, like in any way, shape, or form. You want these at 31. You don't want a nature to hinder your defenses. So I would say at this point, you would want to go for your special attack. Unpheasant's not going to use it anyway. Its special attack is pretty poor in terms of its base stats. And all Pokemon, by the way, have base stats. Again, you can check Cerebi.net. I have another Pokemon, I'll show you why here, but it has stats here. You can see HP, attack, defense, special defense, all of the base stats. This is just a hoo-hoo, so that's why it's super, super low. Again, I'll explain why I have Hoot here in just a moment. But anyway, all Pokemon have a base stat in every single one of their stats. Check Cerebi for your particular question. Which Pokemon there? From there, you can determine, okay, what would it benefit from? Would this Unpheasant actually benefit with an increased speed? The question is, what are you trying to outspeed? That's where you got to compare Pokemon. Or do you want to hit like a truck? I'm going to say, for the sake of this video, we're going to use an Unpheasant with an Adamant Nature. Going back to the chart here, Adamant Nature increases attack by 10%. That's where this raises comes in. And decreases special attack. Unpheasant isn't going to use the special attack anyway. So we're going to try to go for an Adamant Nature. That is my choice. It's not a bad nature. Is it the best on it? It depends on the situation as well. So, like I said, it doesn't have the worst speed in the world. So you might even run Jolly. Jolly, once again, if we look at the chart, if you're not 100% sure, Jolly raises speed, but also lowers special attack. So you're going to raise it in terms of speed, or do you want it to hit harder? It's entirely up to you. So now, going back to the game, why do I have all these Ralts? Well, as you can see, look at where the stats are, where it says attack, HP, attack, special defense, all of that stuff there. Defense, special attack, special defense, speed. Notice that each of these Ralts are different natures, and if we go into summary, we can see I have a Ralts that's calm, I have a Ralts that's careful, brave, sassy, modest, docile, jolly, etc. Get yourself a set of Ralts or any Pokemon with the ability Synchronize. We can see ability Synchronize. What that's going to do for you is that we're going to look for that Adamant Ralts. That's this one right here. Just because I can see the red means that's the beneficial, and then it's the hindering if it's the light blue. Raises attack by 10%, lowers special attack by 10%. It's an Adamant Nature. That's what we want. And it has the ability Synchronize. You're going to go ahead and put that in the front of your party. Okay? So now, we're here in the wild area. Like I said, we're going to go for Unpheasant, so we need to look for a Pidove and whatnot. I believe there's one in the sky right up over here. There is. So we're gonna call it down. And we get a Pidove. So with the ability Synchronize, Ralts will guarantee in the wild that you will have exactly that exact nature on every single wild encounter you encounter. I could run into a Quagsire. It's going to be Adamant with that Ralts in the front. I'm gonna run into a something else. I'm gonna run into something else in the wild. It's gonna have an Adamant Nature. So let's try to capture this thing. You can try to match the Pokeball with your Pokemon. I could, and there's ways to change the Pokeball. I'll go over that in a little bit. Luxury balls are always cool, so let's throw a luxury ball at this Pidove. So it does not want to be my friend. Okay, I'm gonna catch this thing real quick, and we'll see what happens. And we caught it. Awesome. All right. So now we got our Pidove here. And Ralts is going to level up. That's pretty cool. Don't let your Ralts evolve, by the way. It loses the ability synchronizer, so I'm just going to mash the B button and then you go from there. So now you have Pidove in your party. If the synchronizer trick worked, it should be an Adamant Nature. So if we check summary, we go... Is it marked? It is marked. That's epic. Pidove the early riser. Yes, that's great. It is indeed an Adamant Nature. How did I guess? That's cool. That's actually really cool. I obviously did not plan that. It's got Air Slash, Roost, Tailwind, and Sky Attack. It is an Adamant Nature with Super Luck. We'll have to see. Actually, that's actually a really good Pidove there. So now how it's IVs? Well, I will tell you one thing: the IVs are garbage. So how do I fix this Pokemon to have the best IVs that it can be? There are a couple of ways. You can breed for it, which I'll discuss in the next video, or you can do a couple of different things. You can get this Pidove, which you're going to want to get it to a Tranquil and then get it to an Unpheasant before you get it there. You can get this Pidove to level 100. Assume that your Pidove is at level 100. You can then fly yourself to the battle tower here. And assuming you have the bottle caps, and I'll show you where to get bottle caps here in a couple of different locations. Assume that you have bottle caps. You can come into the battle tower here and go talk to this guy right here. Once you have... I don't have any bottle caps. But you can talk to this guy here. What the bottle caps is going to do is that it's going to give you hyper training. Your Pokemon do have to be at level 100 for that. So this Pidove, which would then be a Tranquil, which eventually becomes Unpheasant, would then have to be level 100. You can then give it a bottle cap to each of the stats that you want it to have a best in. And then you will see it say hyper trained. So in the case of my Eldegoss here, you can see where it says special attack and speed both are hyper trained. That just means that it's best. What's the difference between best and hyper trained? For the IV's standpoint, nothing. For breeding standpoints, hyper trained stats do not pass down in breeding. So you can't just be like, okay, I'm going to give a 6, I'm going to use a Golden Bottle Cap, which does all the stats at once, and I'm gonna give this Pidove, 6 IVs, and then I'm gonna breed it. It's gonna make amazing babies. No, it's not gonna work that way. So we got our Pidove here, which is really, really cool, but it has to be level 100 to get the bottle cap, and it does not pass in breeding. This is the only way a 6 IV passes in breeding, if it's already 6 IVs, with this Eldegoss or the Dreadnought. Or you can tell that I've been breeding for a while. I bred this with no good speed. I like how the special attack is no good on this Pokemon here. Not now. And that pretty much covers everything about IVs and Natures. So, Natures increase a stat, decrease another stat, or if you have, none of these are going to have a hindering nature. Let's look at this Ralts here. You can see that there's no red or blue in the stats there. That's because it's a hindering nature. I believe this is a serious Ralts. It's a docile Ralts, but it doesn't matter. It could be either or. All in all, it doesn't need that. I did get one of those. You don't need to get like a serious Ralts or a docile Ralts or a hasty one or whatever. You can just get one. But you get the ability Synchronize on any Pokemon. It doesn't have to be Ralts. Ralts is just a very common one. You get that. You will get that nature on every wild Pokemon. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. On every single wild Pokemon that you encounter. I hope this has been helpful. That helps you with the IVs. There's another way to kind of train it, and it's another set of process. But I do hope this video helped. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And look for the breeding guide next. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.